Well, happy Sunday, Magellan members. Hope you're doing well. And yeah, I know I promised I wouldn't be sending anything to you on Monday. Excuse me, on Sunday. But tomorrow, Marissa and I leave for Fort Lauderdale, getting ready to host our winter conference. And we'll take a couple down days and get ready for Wednesday night. Reception. Great Thursday, and Friday is going to be my leadership presentation. Now, real quick on Friday before we get into what you're seeing on the screen here. I am bringing a videographer in on Friday like we did up in Toronto. So we will be recording my presentation on Friday. So if you're not going to be able to make the trip, unfortunately, you will still get access to my presentation. It'll be about 2.5, 3.5 hours. We're going to shoot it and we'll push it out to everybody once it's ready. So let me show you, if you're looking at the video, what I have there. I'm playing with a new toy. It's on mind mapping, cloud-based mind mapping software called MindMeister. It's really cool. You can do a freebie if you like for a couple of mind maps. And I'm actually using it to build out our new meeting mastery program, at least the kind of the bones of it, if you will. And so much so, I don't think we're going to call it meeting mastery anymore. I think we're going to call it the Magellan prospect conversion process, right? What I wanted to do today, and this is something I'll be working on throughout the year. So I finished the teams and leadership program. Like I said, we'll be rolling that out here and there this year. I did want to spend some time because I do believe that the meeting process or the prospecting process or the client onboarding process, whatever you want to call it, it's changed. It has to change. And so what I want to do in this hopefully short video is kind of lay out for everybody what I believe is the new model going forward. Now, do you have to do it this way? No. If you like your model and it works for you, great. But I'm just saying, I've had several of you test this and have been testing this, and it seems to work really well. It's a much easier process, a series of small decisions, and so on. Let me give you the background of why I'm playing with this again. Number one is, and just kind of hear me out. The prospect today, and prospect is just a nice term for whether they come to you via referral, via COI referral, workshop, social media, Facebook ads, doesn't matter, right? Somebody shows up, right? Whether they show up with a phone call, an email, or they fill out a form on your website, or they respond to an autoresponder, right? Think about this. Our industry for quite some time, decades as a matter of fact, has worked on this premise. Spend a couple hours with me and then bring me all your money. So, whether let me buy you dinner at a workshop, have a couple meetings, give me all your money. I'll refer to you, give me all your money, right? So you think about this. You have human beings making hundreds, if not millions of dollar decisions on somewhat of a whim and a prayer. I mean, the reality is most people do more due diligence on where they're going to go on vacation than they do in choosing a financial advisor. And when you think about from an outsider's perspective, that's really scary in a lot of ways. So what I want to do today is I just want to walk you through kind of the seven, kind of core deliverables on the front end of the conversion process. And just kind of walk you through each one, and we're going to refine. Like I said, I've been playing with this for the last couple of weeks, and by it's no means is it done or complete, but I want to give you my current thinking on it, just in case you want to go ahead and make some changes as we build out the whole new meeting process, if you will, for later. So first thing's going to happen, you're going to have a prospect inquire, right? So we're going to have, again, whether they come via a referral, workshop, COI, doesn't really matter. X is here, right? They may call, they may email, they may actually fill out a form. So what's the first thing that's going to happen? That's going to come in, and we're going to go stage one. Now, stage one, a couple things have to happen. Hopefully not by you. Somebody's going to put them into your CRM whether it's Wealthbox, Redtail, Salesforce, whatever you're using, right? A record is going to be, that's a first and foremost thing. That's like step 1A. Email comes in, step 1A, record created, right? Next thing we're going to do, we're going to assign a tasking. So whether you've got some tasking for yourself, and I'm going to show you what that looks like, whether your assistant has to, a member of your team has to be assigned something, right? We're going to do that. Third thing, and by the way, this should all take place, man, in my perfect world, within the hour of you getting this. So once you get this inquiry, I would say within 60 minutes, in my perfect world, at least the same day, if possible. We're going to assign tasking, and then a PDF is sent. So what are we sending them? And this can come from your staff. It could be an autoresponder. That's fine. It's almost like a compilation of your website. So your bio, your USP, your statement of preeminence, if you have case studies, a brochure, right? Anything like that that's PDF that we can kick out to this person, just in case maybe they didn't get to our website or they didn't give it a full read or anything like that. I want to get something in their hands, maybe links to your LinkedIn profile and Facebook fan page, you know, things like that, right? Sort of like a here's everything about me before we meet. Okay. In there, you could also have an agenda builder for the introduction if you wanted to. That's fine too. Okay. Now, optionally, so you can either, and here's the thing, when I say, schedule link, I love the idea of using some automated process to get people to schedule their times with you. Number one, it forces you to get some discipline and pick some slots. Number two, it saves a lot of back and forth. Now, here, my firm, we use a schedule once. Now you can use that, Calendly. There's several out there you can do research on. I think the key thing is get something you'll use, something that will actually interface with your other software, your platform, and do that. So you could send it out here to have them schedule, right? And that's fine. So let's just say the link goes out. Okay, so your staff sends out, hey, you're going to get a 30-minute intro call with Joe, right? And that's the other thing, by the way. We're not going to rush to bring him in the office. Here's the key thing, for two different reasons. Number one is our industry works under the concept that goal number one is to get him in the office. And I don't think that's a good goal. It's a big ask. And here's the other thing. You're now setting a precedent that they must be in your office to work with them. And if they decide to move, or it's a long distance review, or a long distance referral, it creates problems, right? So that's going to happen, right? So I want to do the first thing, either call, you can do FaceTime, you can do Skype, you can do Zoom, you can do GoToMeeting, whatever you want to do, right? But I prefer them not in the office. It may not make sense for you, it may not make sense for them. It's a smaller ask, easier to get a yes, right? The second thing we're going to do, and this should happen within 24 to 48 hours of this, so I think 24 to 48, is we're going to send them, i.e. you are going to send them one of two things, right? You're either going to do a video introduction using something like BombBomb, and that's the actual name of the software, or you're going to send them an audio. So in other words, you can like literally record a message, put a link, and then send it off via email. That's fine too. I want you to greet them, right? This is what I want. Hey Matt, it's Joe Lucas. Hey, I see that we're going to be speaking next Tuesday on our call. I'm looking forward to getting to know you. I see that you were referred by Amanda. Amanda's been a great client of mine for several years. And all you need to do is sit back. I'm going to ask you some questions, and we're just going to take it from the top. So look forward to seeing you in a couple days. Bye for now. I mean, literally, it's 30 to 45 seconds. They get to see you potentially, BombBomb, right? Or at least they get to hear you. This second chunk, this second step is very important because now it makes you different. It makes you unique. Remember, in our industry, the biggest challenge we have is, in a compliance-based profession, there's not a lot of room for getting creative. There's not a lot of room for being provocative. There's not a lot of room for being, unique. So here, we can create somewhat of a very unique process here by taking this extra little step. Now, this is not about being efficient. This is about being effective, okay? So yeah, there are some moving pieces in here. You have to figure out how to do by yourself, right? Or get your team involved, but that's what we want to do. And then you notice here, schedule link if not used. So we didn't send the link here, right? We're going to send it here. So you may say, hey, enclose this email below is a link, get access to my calendar, pick a slot, look forward to meeting with you. And again, we're going to do this on the phone or any way you like. No harm, no foul. Let's keep it simple, right? Done. Next, intro call. So hopefully from here to here is about a week, no more than that in a perfect world, right? So what are some of the, again, this is the top line kind of preview piece here. So what's the story on the intro call or the intro Skype or the intro GoToMeeting or whatever? Hey, just a story, 30 minutes. How'd you find us? Right? So or how do you know somebody? How do you know this? You always want to find out how one got here, right? There's always a story in there, and I think that's really important we find out that story. Next, again, their background, the story, and then we're going to kind of, hey, needs, what do we say? So tell me what are some of your concerns. Tell me what some of your goals are. What's keeping you up at night, right? We're gonna kind of probe a little bit here, right? Not in like a full meeting process, but we're gonna probe enough. Just gonna kind of feel for, what's their motivation? Are they open for change? Are they seeking change? Do they know they need to do something different, right? Then what you're going to ask them, then what you're going to do is say, hey, look, you've been very nice. You've been answering a lot of my questions. You told me your background, so I really appreciate that. What would you like to know about me and my firm, right? And you flip the call over, right, for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and you let them just kind of ask you questions. Or let them interview you. I think that's really, really important that you empower them to ask questions, right? And then what's going to happen after that? Hopefully, we're going to do an evaluation meeting, which again, could be either on the phone or in person. Let's assume it's in person. And what we're trying to determine right at this stage in the intro call, does this person sound likable? Do they have the economic resources where they're going to be a good fit, or do I need to pivot them to a colleague and to another source? And do I get the sense that they're coachable? And the word sense on coachable, because you really haven't done anything yet, right? So this one for sure, this one ideally, and then this one if you can figure it out. But the coachable one, I think, is going to have to come more in when we do the project piece, okay? So that's the third chunk. Now, assuming this all goes well, we're now going to pivot them into our evaluation meeting or planning meeting or consultation, whatever terminology you want to put on it. Two different models here that we're currently running and testing, a free or paid model. So free being come on in, a paid model may be, hey, a couple $100, $500, whatever it is. And again, I don't have enough data on which one's superior. I would always like the idea to get paid, right? From that perspective. So what are we going to do in this eval meeting? Again, globally, we're going to look at their goals and outcomes, right? From that perspective, assessments. So whether you're doing DISC or financial DNA or Syntonic, or there's several other ones, I'm really coming to love the idea of some sort of communication and behavioral finance type assessment in this process, so we can get under the hood of our prospect or couple prospect, right, and get a feel for that. All right. Now the offer here, just to be very clear, in this eval meeting or planning meeting or consultation, we are not bring me your money. We are not we are not warming up the ACAT forms. Okay. What we're going to look to do is a project. Okay. And the project seems to fall, in my experiences currently, into two categories. One is what we call portfolio X-ray, which would basically look like this. It would be a risk-alyze on the couple. It would be an analysis using risk-alyze on their portfolio, right? And then you would also do a fee assessment, assuming they worked with another advisor, to determine what they're paying both the advisor, the firm, and whatever mutual funds or managers or whatever else going on in actual dollars. Okay, that's what we want to do. All right, and then you're going to agree on a fee. Again, assuming we're doing a paid model here, and then what I call risk reversal. Hey, if you don't like it, we'll credit you back. You don't find value in it, I won't cash the check. If I do this or whatever it is, like if there's a way for you to take the risk off, do it, right? We all agree nobody's going, nobody's going to retire here making it, with a couple $100, right? So this is the only offer that we have. Not bring your money, sign up for the next 10 years. It's project, all right? Next, step 5, the project, right? So from here to here, it depends how long, if you're doing a mini plan, maybe 3 or 4 weeks. This process here could take 2 to 4 weeks. And the reason why we like it to take a little bit of time, hopefully there's some back and forth with your now client, right? Because here, when they said yes, what happened? They had to sign something, planning agreement, maybe ADV, right? So here they signed off on things. They stroked you a check, gave you a credit card, whatever it is. Here's why this is important. So between here and here, because they said yes, their mind, they became a client of yours. And I can't tell you how important that psychology is. Because in their mind, they said yes. They took action. They hired you. You're part of the group. You're in their tribe, so to speak. Okay. So what we're going to do is like I said, an X-ray process, or maybe a mini or light planning. I don't expect it full for like $500. I don't expect a Money Guide Pro or eMoney or anything heavy duty like that. Now I use 500 as a number. Could you charge $1,500 for your project? 2,000? You can charge anything, whatever you think you can get and the market will bear. Do it. Okay. Just make sure you're comfortable in doing it. Okay. And here's what I found: the amount of money that somebody pays you initially on these projects is not relevant to the end result. It's the whole concept and process more so than anything else, right? So after we do that, now we're going to bring them in, or we're going to get back together again, step 6, right? Now, this is when we're going to, again, where we're doing planning or X-ray, we're going to sit down and give them the results of our project, right? And again, it's their work product. They paid for it, assuming they paid for it, right? So again, broad strokes here, because I'm not into the weeds yet with this. When I build this mind map out, it's going to be large, right? Because I'm going to take each one of these, and we're going to subfilter questions. Everything's going to be there. But this is just kind of again, the bones of it right now. Again, we got to focus on pain, pleasure, right? Pain of not taking action, pain of staying where you are, the pain of a negative future without doing anything different, right? And then pleasure, hey, here's all the things you're going to get, here why this is important to you, all those things, right? And that's why we need to know what their goals or outcomes are down here, because now we're going to feed it right back into the projects, okay? The other thing we're going to do is we're also going to tell them what their options are. So if I have a portfolio X-ray, right, I'm going to say, look, you can take this, it's your work product, you can take it back to your current advisor, demand a discount, demand that your portfolio and the risk involved matches the analysis here, the scientific analysis here, all those things, right? So you can lay out the options that they have. And what you're really looking to do when you're presenting your projects, the result of your project, is you're looking to maximize contrast. Now, what do I mean by that? If I were going to put some sub-bullet points here, if I was going to build this mind map out a little bit more, I would have things as how much money they've spent, how much money they've overspent in fees, if that's appropriate, over the last 10 years, if I can extrapolate backwards, and if you don't make any changes in the next 10 years, and I'm going to extrapolate forward. And I'm going to take that number in actual dollars and put that money back in their portfolio at whatever you think the reasonable rate of return is, and I'm going to show them how much money they've lost in the last 10 years and how much money they can lose in the next 10 years, and show them both numbers and add it together if they don't change. Now, why am I being mean like that? Because people will do more to avoid loss than for gain. People will do more to avoid the appearance of loss than for gain. So what I'm going to do is maximize that contrast, okay? Now, in this project, and somewhere in here, they're going to ask, well, what if I wanted to work with you ongoing? What does that look like? Step 7, the engagement, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to outline your model. Again, phone call, touch base calls, reviews, education, events. You're going to lay out all the things you do, and you're going to take a little bit of, and you're going to take a little time here because in most cases, they're not getting that from their current situation, right? Here's the big psychology. What happened down here? They signed something, didn't they? They paid something, didn't they, in most cases, right? In their mind, they hired you. Well, if they don't say yes here, what happens? They lose you. Fear of loss, and this is, by the way, we've got enough data on this now. So now the question is this. If somebody strokes a check here, how often do we end up here and engage? 80 to 90%. Those are the numbers that we have. Remember, small decisions, small levels of commitment lead to larger levels of commitment, right? So by them realizing that if they don't engage you ongoing and ACAT money in, if that's appropriate, they're going to lose you. They're going to lose access to you, right? And that's why we want to do all this emotional linking, which again, I can pull this out and build this out. But I wanted to share with you, and again, this is literally a couple of days old. Again, this is a mind map, but the process I've had, and some of you know this, right? I have several of you already doing a lot of this, running this 7-step model. I just haven't built it out yet. This is sort of new for some of you because I have this going in. I've tested this with some other people. I love the video. Again, and BombBomb's fine, and there's probably other competitors, but the one I know most is BombBomb. Yes, it's an extra step. And yes, it takes time. And it can be a pain in the butt. But I don't care. It's different. It's unique. It's powerful. Remember, this is first impression, the process, right? This is rapport. We get into it here. We're into it here, into it here. This is what we want, the long-term engagement, okay? So if you notice, it's no longer, 3 meetings and decision and stuff like that. We got a goal, get hired. And the goal today is, let's not go scrape a $25,000 account or a $50,000 account or a $100,000 account. Let's go scrape a project together. Let's get paid. Let's get ink on paper, right? Let's get retained. That's what this is about. So I just want to lay it out for you. I'm kind of new. This will be something I'll be working on over the next several months, building this out. And I have no timeline on when it's done, it's done. And when it's done, I'll release it. But I think a lot of you can start looking at your current processes today and realize that you can make some changes in it, okay? So play with this, right? Especially here. Like if you don't want to change, if you don't want to change your meeting process yet, it's your call. But steps 1 and step 2, and why not step 3? Why not filter people? Say, look, how many of you have had a meeting with somebody, you spent 60 to 90 minutes with them, and after 15 minutes you knew that they were not qualified, and yet you're here for the next 45 minutes, trying to make stuff, trying to show that you're maybe interested. Like, why are we doing that to ourselves, right? A 30-minute little intro call will filter out 90% of bad meetings, 90%. And it shows that you're somewhat scarce because they got to qualify to come in. And that, my friends, also gives you a level of professionalism. Again, we want to be professional. Well, let's stop acting like a bunch of salespeople, right? Okay. So I want to just get this out to you. Next week I'm on a lot of things next week. So I've got a couple of days of renewal time, Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday night we've got our reception down in Fort Lauderdale. Thursday, Friday session. Then Saturday, Sunday more renewal time. And then, can you believe it? It's March. The last week of the first quarter. 30 days from now, 25% of the year is gone. And I just feel like we were just in Orlando a couple of weeks ago doing business planning. So that's pretty intense. Okay. Any questions on this? Shoot me a note. Like I said, this is a work in progress. It's going to take some time, but I want to give you the bones, kind of what it looks like to me at this point in the new model. Okay. So with that being said, hey, enjoy the rest of your weekend, your Sunday, and I will see you all again very soon.